Well, welcome back to our second video. This is going to be our second review of our favorite cards. I think we're doing the top 6 today. Is that what we're good on?
Yeah, we're finishing out the top 10, so this time my brother's gonna go 6 cards. I'll probably go with 5 since last video I picked 5, so yeah.
All right, and so we're just going to be going over some of our favorite cards growing up. Some of them are cards that we just were pure for collecting purposes. Other cards we actually battled with, so we might have some feedback on how good or poor the card was. So I'll go ahead and kick us off. So one of my first cards is one of my favorite cards from the first set of Pokemon cards. I believe it was referred to as the Unlimited series. And my choice is base set Raichu. I still remember getting this card, of course, being the evolution of Pikachu, who was probably the most popular Pokemon growing up. This Pokemon was really popular just from the fact that it was its evolution, even though he didn't get the justice he deserved in the anime. A couple of things I like about this card is that, Pikachu is just having a good time. My brothers used to always joke that he was just playing around. They always make the wee sound. And, it wasn't that bad in battling. Yeah, I tried it out, but I was never really successful with it. And yeah, it's just I think it's a solid card. Great art, really basic, but plain, but just stands out. And my second card, which I'm going to just jump right into, is also a Raichu. And this is the Fossil Raichu. And the reason I kind of put these cards back to back is because it was always kind of an inside joke on how Raichu kind of let himself go. Now, to be honest, it's not probably the same Raichu. It could be just a different Raichu that was raised differently. But, first Raichu was nice and slim. You could tell he didn't skip his cardio. Whereas this Raichu, he skipped all his workouts. And yeah, he was a butterball.
Yeah, it's like Gamer Raichu and like
yeah,
Bro Raichu.
yeah. Streaming Twitch Raichu. And actually, the Fossil Raichu was actually probably the better of the two cards in competitive aspects. His attack, it's called Giga Shock, and it takes a lot of energies. 4 electric energies isn't cheap, but it could do 30 damages, which really isn't the best part of the attack. The best part is that you could choose up to 3 bench Pokemon and do 10 damages each to those Pokemon. So if you have some bench Pokemon that are trying to retreat and they're on the bench and they think they could hide, this guy could not only take one out but take multiple of those bench Pokemon out. And so yeah, and so these kind of guys just kind of go hand in hand with each other.
A little throw into the base set Raichu. I remember it took us a while to actually get that card. Base set. It took us a while to get that card, but the only reason we knew he existed was because when the original set came out, the decks would, the little starter decks, they would come with a little hand guide. You remember that?
Yeah, the recommended upgrades.
Yeah, and so it gave you a card list, so we knew he was out there, but it took a while to get him. So
yeah,
that also adds to my brother's.
Yeah, I think I bought the first one at the hobby shop in Salinas, where we used to buy cards, because when I remember the cards first came out, it was kind of tricky to find them. They weren't as popular as they are now.
Yeah. Cool. All right, then I guess I'll go next since my list is gonna be a little bit longer since last week I added 1 card. All right, so last week I talked about the sets we're going through, but I actually skipped on one, and that was the legendary set. So the legendary set is actually a collection of all the sets we're kind of talking about, minus the gym heroes and gym challenge and the promos. But enough with that. It's gonna be Articuno. So this Articuno is actually the legendary Articuno. You can tell by this little icon that looks like a little lock almost. But he is originally from the Fossil set, and Articuno overall, he's one of my favorite Pokemon. Just love how his name sounds. Later on, we'll be doing a gaming channel, and you'll see that my gamer tag, I actually rock the Articuno tag. So, yeah, he's one of my favorite Pokemon, just as far as design and names go. I actually never used him in the TCG Battle Link, but my brother right here did, and so I'm pretty familiar with the card. Just a little bit about his card. He had 2 attacks. First one was Freeze Dry. It would do 30 automatically. You would flip a coin. If you hit heads, the defending Pokemon would be paralyzed. His second attack was pretty similar to Fossil Raichu over there, except for this time you flipped. Depending on if you got heads or tails, you would either do 10 to your opponent or 10 to yourself. Tails, obviously, would do it to yourself. Heads, you would do it to your opponent. So that is my 6th card because I did 5 last week.
All right, for my next card, I'm going to be sharing one of my favorite promo cards, which was Promo Venusaur. I believe my brother was the one who actually got this card. I believe he got it in a magazine. So they used to actually issue some promo cards in magazines. Like the last time I shared E3 Pikachu. That was a card that I received in a Nintendo Power magazine. And I'm pretty sure this one came in either a Nintendo Power magazine or some other type of Nintendo magazine. Maybe something for the game guide for the Game Boy games. Really cool. I'm pretty sure this box art is pulled from the art from the first gen game. So Pokemon Red and Blue for the US, and there was also green for Japan. Wasn't really great of a battling card, but the art on this one, actually, I like the art of the base set Venusaur in the Unlimited series, and this one actually, I think, raised it up a notch. And only has 2 retreat costs, so it's actually a little quicker too. So another slimmed down Pokemon of the original series.
I remember that card was hard to find, not because the magazines were hard to find, but because people would like steal the cards out of the little envelope. So I actually found this one like at a Barnes and Noble somewhere I would like never go, but I just happened to be there, and I remember going through the little section. I found it. All right, so my next card is a card that I kind of like grew on me over the years once I got more into the actual battling aspect of the cards, and that was a Jungle Set Wigglytuff. So in the first episode, I was talking about how Gengar was one of my favorite Pokemon overall, but he was also one of my favorite TCG cards, and I said I would pair him with Wigglytuff, and they really comboed well together. But as far as this guy, his move set was Lullaby. It would automatically put your defending Pokemon to sleep, and they would have to flip a coin, heads to wake up the next turn, tails would stay asleep. So it was a good stall tactic. And his second attack was called Do the Wave, and this was kind of like a team synergy. So the initial portion does 10 automatically, but depending on how many Pokemon you had on your bench, you're allowed to have a max of 5. It would do an additional 10. So he would do better with the more teammates he had. So I'd always call this guy like the LeBron James of my Pokemon deck, because he would do most of the work, but he would carry his teammates around for the ride. So this is one of my favorite cards because of that.
All right, so for the next one, I'm gonna be sharing some cards from a later set. I believe the set was called Gym Heroes, and then it was followed up by Challenge or Gym Challenge. And so the first card I'm going to share is actually, I think, a really cool looking card, and that's Sabrina's Gengar. And so in the anime, Sabrina actually got her Gengar, her hunter from Ash, so I assume this is the Ash's evolved hunter, Gengar. And, it just really cool art, has Gengar looking mischievous just like last time, but this time it's honestly more ominous, more like, what's he up to? Is he like, where is he at? Is he some kind of just spooky location? And this, I don't have that many favorite cards from the Gym Challenge and Gym Hero series, but this is definitely one of them.
It looks like he'd be like the next level Boo from like the Super Mario world, like the little haunted house levels. That's what he reminds me of right there, because it's all like overcasty in the back and stuff.
Yeah. And never really battled with it, so I don't really know much about its attacks. Let's see, its first attack is Pain Amplifier, so put a damage counter on each of your opponent's Pokemon that already has any damage counters on it. Okay, that's actually a really good attack. I don't know why I never used this guy. Second attack's Call of Nightmare, or Call of Night. Unless this attack knocks out the defending Pokemon, flip 2 coins. If both of them are heads, your opponent shuffles his or her active Pokemon and all cards attached to it into his or her deck. So actually, that's actually a pretty good card. I probably just wasn't smart enough when I was younger to figure out how to properly utilize it, but looking at it now, this actually had potential.
Yeah. TCG also wasn't that big back then. Like, I think they're mostly selling based on like the artworks and stuff.
Yeah.
So obviously, older heads probably knew, but yeah. So my next card is also from the Gym Challenge, I believe, because I believe the first 4 gym leaders were classified as Gym Heroes, and the last 4 were Gym Challenge, which makes kind of sense because they're tougher. But this card actually came with one of the original decks that they sold, so he was an automatic card to receive. But overall, man, I love how they did the artwork for this guy, Arcanine. This is Blaine's Arcanine, but they did a really good job of capturing like kind of just like his essence. Like he looks like fierce and like the fire in the background. Just super sick card. Um, and he does 120, so you can't really say much more when you see like a damage output like that.
He
so.
KO anyone.
Yeah, so
back then.
That's a sick card. Arcanine's one of my favorite Pokemon. Sometimes he doesn't get the justice he deserves. Should be a legendary, but it's all good.
What was really cool with the Arcanine too is that Blaine's Growlithe, there was actually 3 different versions of it, so you could actually change it up with just having 3 different versions of Blaine's Growlithe, each with their own attack. It actually made his deck quite interesting to battle with.
Yeah, and the Blaine deck also came with his personal trainer called the Blaine trainer, and it would allow you to attach more than 1 energy per turn, so he was actually pretty easy to load up on.
Yeah, and there's also the Blaine's Gym or Cinnabar Gym, which removed the weakness to water Pokemon in case someone thought they could, try and beat you with the water deck. Yeah. So continuing the Blaine train, I'm actually going to share Blaine's Moltres. Also a very good card. Almost looks very similar to Sabrina's Gengar in terms of the background that it has, and even how the Pokemon's kind of off-centered to the right. This card was really cool. It doesn't do 120 damages, but does 90 damages, and it uses 5 energies. But when you attack, you get to flip a coin, and if it was tails, you actually shuffled Blaine's Moltres and all cards attached to it back to your deck. So that actually could be helpful, because let's say if you're getting close to the end of a match, a long match, you're going to run out of cards in your deck, you could possibly get decked out. You could actually replenish it. Let's say if Blaine's Moltres has 80 damage counters on it and he's going to get knocked out the next turn, and you flip a tails, you're still in a knockout from your opponent. So it was a really cool, interesting card.
Yeah, it's like an attacking scoop up if you hit that tails. So
yeah,
that's pretty nice. Alright, my next card is Fossil Set Dragonite. Now, this card, I don't know, I just like his artwork. I don't really know what he's doing, like besides sitting, obviously, but it's just a clean looking card. One of the few colorless cards that I would use besides Wigglytuff if I were to make a deck, but I didn't use them too much. But overall, I remember when getting him, I was like, okay, this is a sick card. So not too much to say. His Pokemon power would just allow him to move from the bench to your active Pokemon, so it's like a quick switch. And his second attack was Slam. You flip 2 coins for each heads. You would do 40, so that's why I left 40x 40 times. So he had the potential to do 80, but he also had the potential of doing 0. But
and only 1 retreat cost.
Only 1 retreat cost. Yeah, so a pretty sick card.
All right, so for my final card, this is part of the, I believe, the Heroes Challenge series, and this is Rocket's Mewtwo. Now, one reason this card was always cool to me was the fact that this was one of the few cards, especially before they got into the e-reader generation, that actually had 3 attacks. And so I thought that was really cool. And I can't remember all the attacks. I remember they were pretty useful, because I actually remember battling with this one a few times. So its first attack is called Juxtapose. You flip a coin. If head, you switch the number of damage counters on Rocket's Mewtwo with the number of damage counters on the defending Pokemon, even if it would knock out either of the Pokemon. It's okay if one of the Pokemon has no damage counters on it. So right there, that could be really, advantageous to the user. So you put him in, and they say that he's got almost knocked out, or got a couple or 6 damage counters on him. You play your cards right, you can switch those damages, and it will heal him basically and knock out the opponent at the same time. His second attack was Hypnoblast, and basically flip a coin of heads. If any Pokemon is now asleep, does 20 damages, so that's not that great. It's actually decent. Wigglytuff didn't really do any damage, but this one you have to flip a coin, so it's not a guaranteed sleep. So it has its own advantages. And its last attack, Cyburn, costs a ton of energies. Probably wouldn't use it too often. Does 60 damages. I guess the first attack really, I kind of think, makes this card special. The second 2 attacks aren't really that great.
Yeah, that's a pretty awesome card. The only thing I would have switched about it is I don't get how a Rocket Grunt has a Mewtwo. I would have probably went with Giovanni, even though I guess technically he never owned him in the anime, but that probably would have made the card a little bit cooler.
That's true, but in the movie, he was helping the Team
The
Rocket
Rocket
runs.
organization. Yeah. Alright, and my last card, my 5th card, is Black Star Mew. And this one is actually holographic. So they actually did 2 of these. The non-holographic was promo number 8, and this one, if you can see, is promo number 9. And the only difference was the holographic thing. But I think this one you had to have, like, either got in a magazine or you did almost some sort of write-in to get this guy. But somehow we got 2 of them, and I know I never wrote anything in. I doubt my brother did, so we must have traded for him or just outright bought him. But he's pretty sick overall. Mew, he's essentially what, like a cat? So freaking love cats, and this guy just always reminds me of a cat. So
And somehow the ancestor of all Pokemon.
yeah, so yeah, I guess he came from a cat, or they all came from cats. But yeah, pretty sick card. Not too much as far as like using him in the TCG games, kind of on the weaker side. But as far as collecting, he's a great card to have in the collection. So yeah, thank you guys for joining us for our part 2, and hopefully you guys stay with us, and we're gonna start getting into some other kind of things, Funko Pops and shoes pretty soon too. So stay tuned with us and like and subscribe. Anything?
Yeah, no, thanks. Peace out. Thanks for joining us today. Like and subscribe, comment, give us some feedback. It would all